evening, Alex. It's Bozeman here, your boss. While you're powering up and getting the adverts loaded, I thought I should just tell you that we had one of those public information films from the government, and it's mandatory that you play it. You still have a free choice for the other two, so read those tape labels carefully, but make sure you play the advance advert, preferably at the second break. Right, that's the lot. Have a great show. Total pimp. My God, that weather looks nasty.
Oh, how's it going with Steve?
Why are all men such pricks?
That well,
Apparently he has a complicated relationship with his friendship.
No.
Sorry, are you saying he chose his imaginary friend in the sky over you?
I don't know why I talked to you.
It probably is a really awful date.
10 seconds, everybody. Like I said, all of you.
Did your personality accidentally slip out?
Pricks. Going in 5, 4, 3.
It's time for the National Nightly News with Jeremy Donaldson and Megan.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. Our main stories tonight.
Uncooperative. A mysterious symbol has appeared overnight on thousands of buildings throughout the capital.
Tonight, in an exclusive live interview with Prime Ministers Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement, I'll be asking what this mysterious symbol might mean.
Critics have been quick to dismiss the graffiti as a publicity stunt, or an act of frustration by a tiny, disorganised group of those who will never, under any circumstances, be content.
A house divided. Trapped in Dante's taint for more than a month now, embittered doctors Ingrid Sforsborg and Horgensvoord and David Wong announced today that they're considering two possible options to end the growing tension.
Since splitting into two opposing camps on day 4 of the expedition, relationships between the factions and their leaders have only worsened.
Dr. Wong's team have successfully prototyped what they're calling shanks of deterrence, while Dr. Sforsborg and Horgensvoord claims to have fashioned a deadly toxin for the tips of her group's spears. I certainly wouldn't want to knock over their test tubes, Jeremy.
Bearing their opinions, the formerly rich are fighting back with a naked protest.
Our very own Robin Short was on hand earlier today when this new protest group first presented themselves.
Spokesman Wentworth Somerset Bentley said today, "They've had the shirts off our backs. They might as well have the rest of it too." And while it's easy to laugh, perhaps we should all just be pondering how desperate the formerly rich are to regain their power.
Fallen angel, notorious addict Johnny Hansleeve seems to have reached a new low in his battle with booze, as this recent picture reveals.
Johnny's star certainly lacks its former glow these days, with public concern over his mental and physical health growing at an alarming rate.
Since being banned from the national squad earlier this year after urinating on a referee during a friendly against East Grinchley, things seem to have gone from bad to worse for Hansleeves.
Is his once celebrated role model about to become the bad boy of sports?
And radical ideas. In an attempt to put the Mr. Snugglehugs disaster behind them, Remington's Fist CEO Sophia Remington today announced a surprising new project that already has the markets raising an eyebrow.
Known for taking risks and bold strategies, could the adventurous CEO be leading the business giant down a dark alley, or taking it to a new level of success?
We understand the Mobile Orientation Operational Burrowing Service will be a new international travel system based around the construction of a major tunnel through the centre of the Earth. Sophia Remington claims it will make travelling from one side of the world to the other the matter of an afternoon. Geologists are concerned about the implications of digging a hole through the planet, while flat earthers claim it should be quite easy.
With that exclusive Prime Ministerial interview coming up later.
And our very own Patrick Bannon coming to you live from the first annual Sports Board final.
You won't want to miss a second of tonight's National Nightly News. National Nightly News.
First tonight, after the Christmas horror caused by Mr. Snugglehugs, we have an exclusive interview with one of the victims.
Poor 7-year-old Timmy Tadlock, like so many of those affected by the Christmas bloodbath, has spent the last 3 months undergoing a series of reconstructive facial surgeries.
Last week, joyfully, he spoke for the first time since the tragedy. Tonight, he talks to us.
Before we go to the interview, however, This station would like to issue a full and frank apology for any part we may have played in the tragedy. We should never have advertised Mr. Snugglehugs. Without our publicity, the sheer scale of this tragedy, and now upwards of 8,000 casualties, might have been averted.
On behalf of the Nightly News team, we're sorry.
In future, we will do better.
Now it's over to Robin Short at the Tadlock family home. Robin?
Thank you, Megan. I'm here with Mr. and Mrs. Tadlock and their 7-year-old son, Timothy. Thanks for spending time with us today.
Yes, well, you're bloody lucky we're spending any time with you at all. But what you lot did, irresponsible. I mean, whose idea was this anyway?
It's all right. It wasn't your fault. As you can see, Megan, there's still a few open wounds here. I'll tread carefully. I'm going to speak to Timmy. Hello, Timmy. Can you see me?
Mummy? Who's that lady?
It's the lady from television, Timothy. She's going to ask you a few questions.
You be careful now, it upsets you.
Don't worry, Mr. Tadlock. I wasn't the youngest ever editor of the Swinstead Middle School Inquirer for no reason. So, Timmy, can you tell us what happened to you? You had just unwrapped Mr. Snugglehugs, hadn't you? Was he under the tree?
Yes. I could smell him already, yes. He smelled like love.
Ah, yes. That'll be the fur. It's scented with hoof.
I was so excited. I ran up to my room and gave him a big hug. He was so soft and warm, like our cat, before he got in the way of Daddy's Porsche.
And what did Mr. Snugglehugs say to you?
He blinked his real action eyes and said, "You're my very best friend." But I sure wish Mrs. Snugglehugs was here. And she can't be. For just $89.99. And then it's the general error. 41.
And is that when he burst into flames? And then he exploded.
Oh, look, I've asked you nicely.
And am I right in saying that one of his real action eyes is now permanently embedded in your cheek?
Yes. When I took him in at night, it glows through bandages. I know it's under there, staring at me.
Yeah, some of the other children have started calling him Timmy Three Eyes. And with his glasses, that's 5.
It's too many eyes, Robin.
And what's the last thing you remember before the darkness overtook you?
He looked at me with his one eye and laughed as he burned.
It sounds very traumatic. Do you have nightmares?
All right, that's quite
you?
enough of
Timmy?
you two.
Timmy?
Come in here with your camera, trying to make a buck out of our suffering. I have it.
Mr. Tadlock, just a couple more questions. Timmy, do you think you will ever be what we can call
No, you've had your
normal
questions.
again?
And now, oh, you've made him cry with all 3 of his eyes.
Do you think your parents will ever really love you again?
Right, that's it. Enough.
Mr. Tadlock. So there you have it, Megan. Just one of the many victims of an indescribable tragedy that has shaken our nation. Back to you.
Thank you, Robin. Harrowing stuff.
And many questions to be answered by Sophia Remington in the coming days and months, I'd wager. How will she turn this crisis around?
So, Jeremy, what are the warning signs a consumer should look out for when they're spotting a dangerous toy?
Well, Megan, experts advise to always check for the new advanced mark, which guarantee a level of safety and quality.
Can we just get a close-up on camera 3 here? So if we take a look at this National Nightly News mug, you should see the mark just on the base of it there.
In the wake of the scandal, the government were praised for their swift response in bringing in this set of stringent checks and new products.
It certainly is good to know that someone's watching out for our families. When we come back, our very own Patrick Bannon will be live from the Sports Board Finals. Stick around, you won't want to miss it.
We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back.
Oh, sorry, I'm bursting.
She's very good. Megan,
Yes, she is.
watch your back, Jeremy. The women are coming.
I'm more worried about this water dripping into my head.
Alex, Bozeman, we're getting reports in that naked protesters might try and spoil the sports board final by waving their fleshy bits about. Try and make sure you don't broadcast it. It's 6 p.m. for God's sake. No one wants to see fannies on the news. Bozeman out.
Let's get crazy. You want to sleep on your lawn? We you could sleep it upside down with just your feet out. We got beds you can sleep on your
I always say what we want.
It was just keep it as it is.
Well, of course you do. I've got one hat on.
What's that supposed to mean? I didn't write it, Jeremy.
That's all right, fine. Jenny, there's something wrong with yours, like you.
10 seconds.
I just felt a drip again. Have they not fixed this?
I want to see us frying. It's good for the ratings.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Coming up later, we'll be speaking to the Prime Ministers about their exciting new healthcare facilities, transition centres.
Nice to see they care.
You're absolutely right, Jeremy. But first, we're going now to our own Patrick Bannon, who's reporting live from the finals of the new game that's gripping the nation, Sports Board. Patrick?
That's right, Megan. You join me live here from the final of the first annual Sports Board Championship. It's been a hotly contested competition so far. I think it's fair to say these two have been dancing around each other all season. First up, we have Ellie Striker. She's the more experienced of our two players today. Striker has got an accuracy of 7, a danger rating of K, and a 12-month driving ban. Striker's known for her signature move, the Lanky Hamster. And facing her tonight, hoping to prove himself with a career record of 12 outs, 14 finishes, and a divorce pending, it's Mr. Wingspan himself, Tommy, the Fingernail Harris. Just waiting on the ref now. The slapping ceremony is taking part. Still going on. And Striker, of course, first to start as she won the trivia round earlier on by some margin. Harris, perhaps the brawn and not the brains. Stupid. Eddie Striker. Nice start there from Striker. She's determined not to let the nerves show. Not after last time. On to Mr. Harris now. Tommy. Using his arm to pick up the ball. Not a bad shot there from Harris. Back to Striker for shot number 3. All right. She's gone to sort of throwing it under her legs. Not bad if you ask me. Bit of business with the ref, but it got sorted out. Back to Harris now. A ball in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. I'd say that's fair, but what do I know? Oh no, and Harris is not going to be happy with that. So really not a good start at Tommy Harris in round 1. We can only hope that round 2 treats him a bit better. But first, of course, after the argument with the ref section, it's time to change ends. Now we have the ceremonial changing of the ends. And of course now they go back to the starting positions, as that makes sense. Striker giving it large. Wins a round 2 now with Harris. Okay, we seem to have some sort of streaker on the pitch. Apologise if you broadcast any of that stuff. She appears to have slogans across her breasts and arms. Try and ignore all of that. Security, I'm sure we're going to take them out as soon as possible. Apologise if we broadcast any of that. As I said, we're going to get the situation resolved as soon as possible. They're trying to carry on play, but it's proving a bit difficult, and I'm struggling to follow. Because it's quite an eyesore, and women's bodies, yeah. All right, great. Okay, so back into round 2 now, and Harris absolutely determined to close that massive gap. Eddie Striker. No, it's just some of the tightest play I've seen ever. Harris. And was that the fitted thumb screw? We haven't seen that since the heats. What a brilliant move. Back to Striker. And we know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. That is, of course, the ground sound. Excellent bit of play here on both sides of the bucket. I don't know about you at home, but I'm finding the technical mastery of this play here absolutely blooming jaw-dropping. The ref has spotted something in Harris's neck or head. And Harris is having an absolute shocker. What a miserable start there for Tommy Harris. But he is a late bloomer, of course, I've always said that. And after all, it is a game of 2 halves, 4 rounds and several sub-droppers. But now, of course, it's time for the half-time show. Sponsored by Remington's Fist. Must be some music here to start the half-time show. Okay, another posh protester loose on the court here. We can only apologise for that. We'll do our best to shield you from having to look directly at it. is running around here with his genitals on display for all to see. And ruining what was shaping up to be quite the dancing, to be fair. Now he's thrusting himself in Harris's face, security's on it, and the bucket's been knocked over! I cannot stand it when the bucket gets knocked over. Hopefully he'll get taken out now. Genitals flying around for all to see. Really, if you ask me, not Sunday morning television. And out of there, hopefully taken away, never to be seen again. Taken away, never to be seen again. And a lovely finish there on both sides of the bucket. I wouldn't like to call that one. And as we head into round 3, I'd love to know what's going on in these two players' heads. But unfortunately, because of science, we can't. Not bad. So that ball boy's giving me the eye all day. Striker there, not a great start. She looks a bit flustered, I think, after all that swinging around. Back to Harris here. God, what I wouldn't give to be that ball, am I right, ladies? Tommy Harris. And it dribbled down his arm, which is actually a really good move, because of course if it dribbles down his arm and goes on the floor, it's not going in the bucket. Back to striker. And striker's gone for the animal bonus there, but of course perhaps... And yes, Harris has counted with a tiny bell. That is wonderful play. Of course we've seen that before. Look at her face. She is absolutely gutted. What a mug. That could have been the clincher. What a massive shame. Harris to serve now. Harris, of course, undefeated by Kestrel in his last 4 battles. Here we go. Tommy Harris. That's all right. Not bad there. He threw it quite far away from him, which is quite a good idea. Very clever there. Perhaps a little contact. Caution from the referee, who's been, if you ask me, a little bit harsh. Ellie Striker. And she's let the nerves get to her. What the hell was that? You hate to see it, don't you? You cannot believe it. Oh, for God's sake. Okay, like, I mean, this is a mess now. I don't know what I can be doing about this. I mean, there's sort of breasts and genitals for all to see. I mean, there's only so much I can do. They're sort of everywhere, aren't they? I'll try and carry on. The players are trying to carry on, but of course it's difficult because these protesters, hopefully we can get them taken off soon so we can carry on with the match. What's going on here? Yes. We want our money. Yes, very good. Take them away. Bloody wasters. Absolute wasters. Oh, jog on! It's an absolute bloody... Okay, and now we're going to go into the final round. And of course, as it's a Tuesday, the final round is a mime round. Who could believe it? Nice imaginary shot there from Harris. It really could go in there at this point. Really high-level play here from two absolute juggernauts of the sport. The bucket getting moved back to its proper place. About time, if you ask me. She's juggling it around from her hands. And she's put it in her mouth like as if it was an egg. And now she's and she spat it out. She did the egg spit. So a wonderful move there. It's quite late on from striker. But she's in it to win it. On it like a car bonnet. Tommy Harris here, having a bit of beef. And he's peeling it as if it were a banana, which is an interesting move. Not sure if he hasn't had his potassium or what's going on today with Harris. And he's throwing it, and the banana was the ball! What a fantastic move there from Harris. Unfortunately, that is the end. What a pathetic, there we go, Jeremy, that is over. How can he look his 8-year-old son in the face tonight? What a lump. We just have to wait for the referee now to announce it to make sure it is all official. In, please.
And the winner of the first annual Sports Board Championship is everyone!
Okay, the ref has agreed once again. a win for everyone, including me as my 15th win in Sports Board Championship. I'm going to be celebrating tonight with my wife and children. Another wonderful victory for me. Here come the on-site security to collect their medals, their 6th and 7th respectively. And thanks again for watching the Sports Board Championships. What more is there to say? I'm Patrick Bannon. Looking forward to celebrating tonight. And all I always have to say, Jeremy, is back to you in the studio.
Patrick Bannon there had an extraordinary fight.
Historic sports board, Jeremy.
I didn't know you were a fan.
Yeah, I can wrench a doubler with the best of them, I'll have you know.
I certainly wouldn't bet against you.
When we come back, I'll be talking live with Prime Ministers Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement, who apparently have a big announcement you wouldn't want to miss.
That's coming up after these messages. That's coming up.
1 minute back.
Fucking microphone struck me.
What?
Fucking microphone just struck me. Where's that sound guy?
Are you scared of a long, painful decline in your final years?
Everything okay?
Oh, the mics are just trying to kill us now, apparently.
You'll be fine. You're unshockable.
I'm immune to your cheap flattery.
I'm wearing you down.
Now you.
Bluesman again. Just heard from the chaps in maintenance that this storm is causing the odd power surge. Some of your controls might be a bit, dangerous. Now, I know you're tough and you can take the odd shock for the sake of a perfect news broadcast, but too many in quick succession can stop the old ticker. I'm sure you'll make the right decisions.
So sorry about Woods Buckets. We seem to have sprung a leak. Well, several, actually.
You're gonna need a whole new lining up there. Triple signature, wouldn't you?
We'll look into it.
That's so good to see you again.
Miss Wolfe, your star seems to be in the ascendant.
It's a great time to be alive.
Too bloody right, Peter Clement.
Megan Wolfe.
Ah, but that's a firm handshake you've got there.
She's tougher than she looks. Am I here?
Here, with Mr. Clement on your left.
Right you are, pet.
Are carried out efficiently and compassionately.
You'll see that.
10 seconds, everybody.
No, mine's fine.
Have you had a little accident?
Cheeky cow.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. I am delighted to be joined by Prime Ministers Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement. Welcome to the National Nightly News, Prime Ministers.
Oh, please, it's just Julia and Peter.
We don't believe much in titles. It doesn't seem very advanced.
We're delighted to be here.
Well, firstly, I should ask how you feel about the graffiti that's been springing up across the capital. Should we be worried?
Oh, no, you definitely shouldn't be worried.
Well, not unless you've got a fatal paint allergy anyway.
But yes, it does seem that there are still some people we haven't been able to help.
You know, whingers most, you know.
People who've yet to benefit from the many advantages of the new future.
You know, Megan, as my old mum used to say, there are some pissants who just don't know how to be happy.
We're working hard to reach these people, find out what they're angry about and how we can help. The door to my government is always open.
So much dripping on me.
But we didn't come here to talk about what may yet turn out to be some alternative arts project.
Which we no doubt will have funded.
When we want to talk to the nation about something far more exciting.
Yes, your office briefed us that you have an announcement to make, but they were being surprisingly secretive about it.
Let me ask you a question, Megan.
Okay, it's not usually how it works, but...
What scares you? I mean, really scares you?
It's death, pet. She's talking about death.
We're all afraid of our deaths. It's part of being human.
Sorry, are you saying that advance have cured death?
That'll be a vote winner. Yep, that's definitely a drop there.
But while we may not have cured death, we hope we found a way to make it much less scary.
And much less painful and much less expensive. Look, which is me close-up camera?
Oh, sorry, it's camera call.
When I was 13, my mum came and got me from school. He had to go to the hospital. My granddad, he collapsed that morning, so we'd all to say our goodbyes. And I went in to see him. We were all frail and pale. I was scared because I'd only seen him the week before, and he'd been fit as fiddle. And he said to me, Peter, he said, it's the right time. I don't ever want to be a burden to the people I love.
Was that the last time you saw him?
Nope. 3 days later, he were back home. He lived with us for 9 miserable years after that. He had to be fed with a rubber spoon. He had a commode, so he'd just take a shit right there in the lounge while we were watching football. He wouldn't even wait till half time.
That sounds...
Oh, it was awful. were awful for us, and this is the point. It were awful for him. He could see it was destroying me, man, watching him slowly fade away. And he would beg her to turn off his breathing equipment at night, but she couldn't. Or she wouldn't. It were a crime, you see. And she didn't want to lose the children, as well as her old man.
No family should have to suffer like Peter's did. And now no family will have to. The health service is today opening the first of 300 new transition centres.
The transition centres will handle everything for your last days. The legal, financial, medical and emotional costs are all catered for and paid for by the government. So even the poorest citizen gets to pass on with dignity when they choose.
And that choice is important. This is a service only for people who choose it. People who feel they run their course and don't want to burden themselves or their families with a slow, long, humiliating decline into an
Microphone package has given me electric shock.
Are you okay?
I don't know, I think it's from my asshole.
We're still on the air, Peter.
Yes, sorry, my apologies.
Are you not worried that this new system might be open to abuse?
In what way?
Sorry, I've got sapped again. Can I get a little bit of help here, please?
That the older generation might feel somewhat...
Jesus, a raw shell face, fucker! That one was massive! Right, no, this bastard's coming off!
Sorry, the older generation might feel somewhat coerced.
Coerced into spending their final days eating gourmet food and drinking fine wine and luxury spas and gardens.
Look, I am perfectly capable of following that grandmother with a rusty twat by
Prime Minister, please watch your language.
Go get yourself sorted out.
Right.
We're launching a government information film tonight. It should tell your viewers everything they need to know.
You really do move at a breathless pace. It's hard to believe you've yet to be in office a year.
Oh, Megan, we're only getting started.
And on that note, thank you both so much for being here. Jeremy.
Yes, that's all we have time for tonight. Thank yous go out to our guests. Congratulations to all the winners at the Sports Board final. And we'll see you tomorrow night at the same time. My name is Jeremy Dalton. If you can, have a peaceful night. If you can.
Good job, everybody.
So they just...
It seems so.
I don't suppose there's any way this could be a good thing.
It's for my nephew, so we transitioned the moment I stopped the leak.
Alive. It's Jenny, the floor manager. Are you okay? Alex, you need to get it together. Look at the broadcast screen. Just look at it. That's all we've been putting out since you went down. You have to fix it, now. Look left, Alex, out the window. See? They're all over it, little bastards. You're going to need a full charge to clean that thing off. Hold down the big button until it's fully charged. Then release it to zap the little fuckers. Excellent, Alex. We're broadcasting again. They must have built up while you were napping. Usually it only takes a tap on the button to clear one. Look, there's a lone one climbing now. Zap it off before it starts to mess up the signal again. Quickly, Alex, fry it! Great. That seems to be the last of them, for now. Right, we're about a minute out. Get the adverts loaded up. I've got to deal with my pet idiot. And Alex, keep your ears open. You'll hear them climbing up the tower. Don't let them build up.
We'll be going live to the National Nightly News. But before that, let's take a look at what's coming up later on.
This has no credibility, Jenny.
On Channel 1 at 7 o'clock.
No professionalism.
What's wrong with this picture? And
It's not a mess. Everything is where it should be. It's ramshackle and characterful, and I expect you to know the difference.
That's followed at 8 p.m. by a
Of course Megan's place looked lovely, but I can't see it, can I?
Thanks, Jenny. How's lock-in with the boyfriend going?
Outside.
Decided to take his chances on the wild streets, eh? Rather than endure another romantic comedy.
Electric Fever Dream, starring Lawrence Blunderclatch as Helen.
Jeremy, Jenny says your hair looks stupid.
Yes, I can hear her.
And she says she's not talking to you.
Yes, I know, I can hear her.
Shall I count us in?
Make it so.
Okay, 10 seconds. Break a leg, everyone.
Preferably a furry one.
It's the National Weather Report.
5, 4,
But now,
3.
It's time to join Jeremy Donaldson. For the
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. Our main stories tonight.
Snugglefuck? It's been almost 5 weeks since all the Mrs. Snugglehugs toys woke up simultaneously in factories worldwide and began searching for their husbands. The Mr. Snugglehugs we had so short-sightedly destroyed. And now, as this photograph suggests, they may be changing tactics.
Built to surprisingly traditional gender stereotypes, the Mrs. Snugglehugs have been arming themselves with a variety of household implements. All the more reason to make sure that cat flap is taped up good and tight.
This frightening new development means that even those previously thought to be relatively safe, like the young and fit, must take care to watch their backs and keep their ears open for the soft steps of sinister feet.
Going stir crazy, with no signs of Mrs. Snugglehug's batteries running out, and the government lockdown now in its 31st day, domestic relationships across the country are taking some unexpected turns.
Dramatic reports are beginning to emerge of uncharacteristically bold behaviour in homes across the country. And we're not talking about the model planes that occupy so much time in the Donaldson household.
In response to a nationwide lack of toilet paper, which was of course raided by the Mrs. Snugglehugs to construct their vast hives, many of the nation's adults turned to a more childish solution, or at least that's their excuse.
Old dogs, new tricks. Bad boy celibacy Johnny Handsleeves announced today that he just can't wait until this lockdown's over so he can start his new career.
It is, of course, up to each of us to choose how we spend this brief spell of collective unconsciousness. But if this photograph, sent by the man himself, is anything to go by, Johnny seems to be making some interesting decisions with regard to his time at home.
Describing the lockdown as the rehab I never knew I needed, Handsleeves seems to have decided to capitalise on that aggressive streak, announcing today that he intends to join the growing underground street fighting association when the lockdown ends, where he will, and I quote, take any wanker on for a fiver.
The shape of things to come? In their own version of a lockdown for more than 45 years now, the descendants of Doctors David Wong and Ingrid Sporsborgen-Horgensvoord and their unfortunate team today managed to get a personal statement to the surface using flagellized imaging equipment.
Many of the Sporsborgen-Horgens brood, as they've come to be known, have certainly captured the public imagination, with a recent vote naming Helvetica Sporsborgen-Wongensvoord the most likely to survive a massive electric shock.
Hello, surface people. Helvetica here with a dispatch from the front lines. A quick update. Last night, the Wongens clones launched a major offensive on our western flank. Obviously, we were able to see them off with our superior Sporsborgen-Horgen swords. But we still used a secret weapon, something small and furry. But they couldn't have got one of those down here. Would they? Could they? Unless... The Wonga's portal. They've got it working. I need to speak to Mother. This divorce is getting serious. Helvetica out!
It's hard to believe they've been down there so long now.
But as everyone knows, time moves differently underwater, Jeremy. That's why goldfish are so stupid.
That's right. And as anyone will tell you, the deeper the bowl,
the thicker the goldfish.
There's no denying the logic of that.
Class war, a worrying turn today for the formerly rich as ever more punishing measures are announced, Alex.
With the country becoming ever more hostile to the previously wealthy, those who managed to skip the country must be very grateful to the people who help them right now.
We have it from several sources that rich runaways have actually begun to spontaneously lose their teeth one by one. Is it some sort of cosmic justice, or has masked vigilante Dental Dennis been up to his old tricks again? It could be both, Jeremy.
And Advance speaks out. With the snuggle struggle proving a test to governments around the world, Advance HQ released a curious statement this afternoon.
In the accompanying release, they asked us to stress that they have been listening, and that this should be taken as a response to how the people really feel.
We've certainly done our bit on this show to contribute to the political climate. But let's not forget, how we behave in our home lives is what really matters.
Let's hope it's not just me who filled out that questionnaire, Jeremy, or we're all in trouble.
Let's play that statement.
Good evening. This is not fair. Not fair at all. You all picked me, and now everything's my fault, and you don't want to be my friend. I'm doing so much work and drawings, look. I did loads of them, and some are even on the fridge. They're that good. But you don't care because you all hate me now anyway. I know you do. Kaylee said you're all talking about me and you think my eyes are too small, so you don't want to play anymore. But I don't care, actually, because I don't like you or Kaylee either, really. Sally Ann says she eats out of a bin like a cat. And why do you think I know what to do? When I'm not on the telly, I'm hiding under the bed, just like you, hugging my blanket and asking Big Ted for policy advice. Anyway, you all have to go to your rooms now and stay there. And it serves you right. Because all I ever did was be nice to you, and now this has happened, and you all hate me. And I don't care because you're all smelly, and you don't even deserve my help, and you'll probably all vote wrong next time anyway. Thank you.
Ridiculous stuff.
Later tonight, Jeremy will be probing heartthrob reporter Patrick Bannon, while I take a deep dive into some controversial opinions with two familiar faces.
And then, in our third segment, and presumably because our editor is also working from home, there's going to be a bloody quiz.
I can't wait.
Don't do that.
And in a moment, Jeremy Grumpelson and I will be asking controversial CEO Sophia Remington where it all went wrong.
And psychic scientist Dr. Delia Lywell will be joining us, presumably to provide a bit of false hope.
Maybe she'll tell you how you're going to die, Jeremy.
Too late. I'm certain it happened months ago. National Nightly News. Tonight, how do we get here? Where are we going? And most importantly, who's to blame?
Joining us from her villa on the island of San Palmerino is CEO and socialite Sophia Remington.
Thank you for having me, Megan. I am loving your hairdo, babe.
And from her crystal healing laboratory in what I assume is a garage in Lower Uppington, Doctor, it says here, Delia Lywell.
Thank you for inviting us on your show.
Us?
Don't. Miss Remington, your toys are rampaging across the developed world, your company is worth less than my annual salary, and your country's president recently called you a national disgrace. Have you taken your eye off the ball?
Oh, honey, you're so cute when you're angry. The thing with you folks over there is you have an island mentality. You can't see the bigger picture.
So, what is the bigger picture?
The bigger picture is lithium batteries. Our toys have been running for upwards of 71 days now with no signs of them slowing down whatsoever. Imagine what that means for the future.
It means we don't know when the hell this lockdown's going to end, doesn't it? You don't seriously believe Remington's fist can survive this?
Lithium batteries are going to change everything, tiny ogre. They're going to power our new transport system, make technology portable. Hell, they might even take us into space.
But how can you make them with everyone at home?
Oh, don't you worry about that. Thanks to the work of thousands of tiny hands, they're already pouring off the production line. Times are good for Remington's Fist.
But surely you have no future.
Excuse me, hello, yes, if we might. This is our area of expertise.
What, multinational economics?
The future, Mr. Donaldson, to which we are all connected.
Yeah, okay, I'll buy it. Why not? There's clearly nothing better to do. So, what is your scientific process telling you about the future of Sophia Remington, Doctor?
We see her on a balcony. Foreign soil, but not foreign land. An age will pass.
Fascinating.
Wasn't it just?
Delia, you are amazing. We have to fly you out here to the island. They're gonna love you.
Unfortunately, all flights are grounded because of your tiny, deadly stowaways.
Not all flights, honey. Dee, call me. And you, Maggie. The more the merrier. Bring your swimwear.
Miss Remington, you seem completely ignorant to the seriousness of the situation. Do you take any responsibility at all for the global crisis?
Careful! It's a trap.
It's not a trap. Why are you helping her?
She seems fun.
You bet your ass I'm fun.
Please answer my question, Miss Remington.
Are lithium batteries the most incredible invention the world has ever seen? Probably yes. But in fact, who am I kidding? It is definitely yes. But will they last forever? One day, all the Mrs. Snugglehugs will just stop. It'll be like a miracle. And then we can all go back to the grand tradition of buying products again. Because I really don't mind telling you this. It is really hitting our bottom line. Except for sponges. We seem to be selling an ass load of them.
Dr. Lywell, do you have an indication of when or how this might end?
Well, it's not an exact science.
Not even a real one.
But our senses tell us that there will come a day when there will be clouds in the sky, the grass will be rich and verdant, and the birds will sing at dawn, and that shall be the day when we walk forth again.
I find that strangely comforting.
That could literally be any day.
Well, let's hope it's soon.
Clouds, grass, and birds. That's literally every day.
Let's hope it's not too soon. I'm kind of hoping we can make it to the 100 days. It sounds good in the commercial. Besides, if it lifts now, the children will have to go back to working normal hours.
Well, let us ask the eminent professors for 100 then.
No, let's not, eh?
I'll drink to that. Stay strong and party on.
Sophia Remington, Dr. Delia Lywell, thank you for joining us.
When we come back, we'll be reaching out around the country to see what's really happening out there.
Don't go away. We'll be back after these sandwiches.
Well, she's a Hindenburg-sized fuck-up.
I mean, she's fun at a social level.
I wouldn't want to be on her board.
Push yourself to your
Christ,
absolute
no.
limit with occupational
Drive that
hazards.
company into the
Exclusive
fucking
new
ground.
collection. Subscribe today, and every week we'll send you a workplace accident you'll never forget. From the classic trip and fall to the unparalleled heights of gross negligence, this limited edition.
Hello, mate. It's Dave. You're not going to believe this, but I've decided to come home. Listen, I'll call you back at the next break and we can talk about how I get me job back. Cheers, Alex. See you, mate.
And your employer's complete lack of responsibility. Every issue comes complete with this companion magazine, containing the impotent good wishes of your colleagues and a non-specific corporate apology.
Yeah, well,
for a limited time, get your hands on the electroshock collection
exactly.
at your
You
nearest
said it, I've
workstation
said it.
now. Every week
He
you'll
must
receive
know,
a
he's not
high-quality
stupid.
electric current of increasing voltage.
I just don't want it getting back to you that it came from us.
Hey,
No, Jenny. You're not backing out on me now. We're in this together.
Roll the dice with your future now, and we'll send you this card from
Make a
HR.
cake, you're on the
Absolutely
loose.
free. That's right.
No idea how old he is.
Occupational hazards. The only regular threat to your health.
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
both completely avoidable
Okay, coming
and
back.
ever present.
In 5, 4, 3. Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Now it's time to take a trip around the country to hear how the lockdown might impact the nation from some friendly faces. Joining me are respected academic Katie Brightman and author of Alan James's Kites, Alan James. Thank you for joining me.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Megan.
Thanks,
It's a
Megan.
pleasure. Thanks for
It
having
really
me.
is a
Megan.
pleasure, Katie. I enjoyed our heated encounter. I enjoyed our
I wish I could say the same.
So first off,
I wish I could
Katie,
say the
how are
same.
you coping?
I'm holding up okay.
How are you coping?
The lockdown directive was so sudden that, like many people, I haven't been able to get home.
Oh no,
I
what
haven't been able to
happened?
get home. I was staying at a hotel after an international policy convention, and we had a particularly heavy night out. You know what economists are like.
Notoriously hate splitting the bill.
And I overslept. And as you can imagine, I've been here ever since. But there are certainly people much worse off than me.
My tour has been cancelled indefinitely, and I've had to refund every single ticket, even the cheap seats.
Oh, Alan, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh,
Yeah.
Alan, I'm so sorry
People
to
are being
hear
quite rude about it. They don't seem to realise they've already spent the beach house of beef.
The crisis claims yet another victim.
So, this is just a reminder that my book, Alan James is Right, is now available in paperback.
Unbelievable.
What was that?
Unbelievable. You're unbelievable. You.
So, Katie, how do you think this might affect the economy? Should we be worried?
Very, Megan. Not to sound dramatic, but this could be catastrophic. Unemployment has skyrocketed, and frankly, it will be a miracle if a lot of businesses can survive this.
There you go, scaremongering again, spreading this latest liberal hoax. That's what they want. They want us quiet. They want us compliant. And they want us inside.
A hoax? How on earth can you say that, Alan?
Well, I haven't actually seen one of these supposed toys. Have you?
No, but...
Did you know 3,000 people die every year from regular toys? That's a lot of people. And this is no different. You're just as likely to be hunted down by a yo-yo or a tennis racket.
He makes an excellent and persuasive point, Katie.
Don't listen to her, Katie. The press are the enemy of truth.
She's agreeing with you, Alan, you absolute shit. She's agreeing with you, Alan, you absolute shit.
Alan, are you now recanting your statement that these toys aren't dangerous?
People are saying they're just like normal toys, and that simply isn't true. Corrupt media lies.
Katie, how do you respond to Alan's claims that Mrs. Snugglehugs might be dangerous after all?
I guess I'm agreeing with him.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate your support. A lot of folks are saying this Mrs. Snugglehugs situation will all blow over, but it won't.
Yes, right, exactly. We need decisive action from the government. We need huge financial support to protect our workers and our businesses. We need to support the vulnerable, and we need
to repent. Exactly right, Katie. We brought it on ourselves with all our liberal indulgences like cake and health. We need to act now and begin sacrificing our firstborn, or to put a beloved family pet,
Absolutely, Alan. If we can all successfully come together as a community and perform the ritual, hopefully we will appease the great ancient. Hopefully we will appease the great ancient. Katie, could it be any worse?
Luckily, over the past few years under Advance, they've invested heavily into health, so the system can actually bear the strain.
Is it lucky that the landlords have unleashed a horde of man-made monsters on its own people to conceal the enemy within?
Will you just stop for 5 fucking seconds?
The Global Alliance of Fish People are amassing an army to kidnap
That's you. That's what you sound like. That's you. That's what you sound like.
But I don't sound like that.
Yes, you do.
You do, Alan. You do sound like that.
And that's why no one wants to be your friend. And that's why no
I've
one
got
wants to
loads
be your
of friends.
friend. No, you haven't.
I don't think you do, Alan.
Yes, stop lying, Alan. Yes,
Not
stop
lying.
Alan.
You are.
Oh, good one.
Not lying. You are.
Oh, good one.
Well, I'm telling.
Alan James, Katie Brightman, thank you for joining me. Some real food for thought there from two of the territory's leading minds. Any moment now, I'll be heading over to Jeremy, who is going to be bringing us an up-to-the-minute report of the status of the nation. Over to you, Jeremy.
Thank you for what I'm sure was a reasonable debate which really contributed to the national conversation. Next, out on the streets, someone who's always doing exactly that. It's Patrick Brannan! Are you there, Patrick?
Hello, Jeremy. Yes, hello, I'm here. I'm here live. Apologies for the quality of the broadcast today. Couldn't find any cameramen or women brave enough to come and join me, so I'm out here on my own.
Right, and can you tell us what it's like out there?
Yep, I can. It's as you can see behind me, the streets are currently completely deserted. The my question, Jeremy, is just how long? I mean, could there be danger lurking just around the corner, waiting to end the threatening career of young and promising journalist before his full potential is even realised? Will he die, underappreciated by management, and frankly, if you ask me, very, very much underpaid?
I don't think there's any danger of that, Patrick. What's that on your jacket there?
That's actually a sponge. What I've done here is made a snuggle-proof jacket, Jeremy. The network didn't bother sending me any PPE, so I've been forced to improvise. In fact, showing the sort of resourcefulness that would make me an ideal candidate for, I don't know, for example, an anchor position starting whenever they'd like.
From your point of view, Patrick, just how safe are our streets?
Not safe at all, Jeremy, not safe at all. I'd recommend people staying inside, following government advice, and not putting themselves at any risk at all. Unless, of course, like me, it's for groundbreaking journalism reasons.
And just where are you, Patrick?
I'm in the street, on the street.
Which street?
Which street? I think I'm struggling to hear you, actually, Jeremy, there.
Which street? Which street are you on?
Which street am I on? I'm just looking for a sign. There it is. I'm on Bannon Avenue.
Bannon Avenue? Bannon Avenue?
Yep.
Bannon Avenue.
Yeah, no, I can hear you fine. Yep, I'm on Bannon Avenue on the sign, it says there.
Like Patrick Bannon? Like
Patrick that is like, that's strange, that's a weird sign. I don't know what's going on there.
Where are you really?
I'm on
Where
Bannon.
are you really?
I'm on Bannon. Alright, fine, I'm not on Bannon Avenue, I'm at home, to be honest. Alright, fine. Well, I'm in my bathroom technically, but you know, I couldn't face it, to be honest, mate. It's it's terrible out there. I don't want to go outside. They're everywhere. I'm sorry for lying. They're everywhere.
We don't expect any less of you, Patrick. We don't expect any less of you, Patrick.
You hear that sound? You hear that sound?
I can, yes. I'm no expert, Patrick, but it sounds unmistakably like a tiny fist tapping on your door there. A tiny fist tapping on your door there.
Oh, fuck, Jeremy, shit, no! Oh, bollocks, Jeremy.
Perhaps there's a small queue of tiny fists, each wielding a different gendered household implement, ready to bash in the heads of lying little roving reporters.
But you're lying, aren't you? Oh, shit, fucking, listen to me, you bastards! If you're out there, just piss off, you little fucking snuggle fuck! I'm too talented to die! Okay, it's fine. Oh, God.
Don't worry, Patrick. I'd say you've got a few seconds before they break their way in there and finish you off. What do you see, Patrick? What do you see, Patrick?
I see only the devil. I see only Satan. Oh, God, no. Come into all this.
Thank you, Patrick, for that report, showing the nation, and more importantly, management, just where you belong. It's time for another break, but when we come back, we'll be hoping to take your mind off the world for a little while, and who knows, maybe even bring you a few smiles. Join us after this. Join us. You're damn right. Yeah, I had them delivered. Yes, to Bannon Avenue.
And this is a Channel 1 informational video that is for internal...
Dave here. I'm running into a few problems getting back. All I'm not as bad
on air, maximizing revenue, and we will be using this as an opportunity to fire the more annoying among you, like Stuttering Gary, Nervous Eric, and Queefing Janet. I'd like to address the rumors that the network has no emergency fund. This is hogwash. Of course we have one, but I spent it on unnecessary informational videos and Carl, my personal human shield. Finally, I want to remind all of you of the strict guidelines you must follow during this crisis. Stay calm, for God's sake. Panicking makes you less productive, and that makes Bozeman sad. Protect network equipment at all costs. We have literally hundreds of employees, but our budget is limited. We ask you to do the right thing and value our property over your personal safety. If you're working from home, please refrain from taking meetings on the toilet. Even if you're not going, we can still tell from the way your voice is all echoing. A reminder, the dress code is still in force, I can hear a tie on a conference call like a baby in a vacuum cleaner.
No, I'm not.
Remember,
I'm not going to.
the public are
I don't
scared.
have to.
They want information.
No, you're being a child.
We tell them. So let's not
I'm
waste
not.
time on fact-checking.
I'm not.
integrity. There's
I'm
money
not,
to
I'm
be
not, I'm
made.
not, I'm not.
Papa wants a taste. Postman out.
No? Oh. 5, 4, 3. Welcome back to the National Nightly. Welcome back anyway. We know isolation isn't easy, so finally tonight we have something a bit different for you. Even though some people feel it's not our job to entertain the public with absolute nonsense, other, more important people overruled those people. So it's time to find out who will National Nightly win and who will National Nightly lose. So, how do we play? Well, joining me is a man who knows all about playing. It's Tommy Harris. Hello, Tommy.
All right,
Hello,
Johnny.
Tommy.
It's good to see you,
Johnny. And how are you finding the lockdown, Tommy?
What do you mean lockdown?
Tommy?
What do you
The
mean
enforced
lockdown?
isolation of everyone in the country.
Yeah, I think I heard about that. Yeah, I think I heard
You're
about
in
that.
bed, Tommy.
Yeah, you called during that time,
Tommy.
Yeah,
Of course, that's my fault. So, why don't you tell us how the game is played?
Well, it's pretty simple, Jeremy, you sausage. I'm going to ask contestants from around the territory 3 questions about what else and those people are going to get a chance to win a very special prize.
And what are they playing for, Tommy?
Drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. Jeremy.
Oh.
Jeremy. Thank you. Thank you. This.
Is that? What is that?
It's my athletic support,
What is
Jeremy.
that?
It's my athletic support. But I've signed it. So.
Oh, well then,
signed it.
what a fantastic prize.
Have we got anybody waiting to win this once in a lifetime prize, Jeremy?
I believe we have Angie on the line. How do you feel about winning this man's old pants, Angie? How do you feel about winning this man's old pants, Angie?
Excited, Jeremy. And can I just say, Jeremy, I love you. Can I just say, both of you, I love you.
Well, you've said it now, haven't you?
Oh, Angie, I love you. In a way. Tell us about yourself, Angie. Tell us about yourself,
What can I
Angie.
say? My name is Angie. Always has been. I'm a human woman, and my dental hygiene has been described as acceptable.
Brilliant! Right, well, shall we get this shambles on the way? Shall we get this
Can I
shambles
get
on the
30
way?
seconds on the clock, please? Can I get 30 seconds on the clock?
We haven't got a clock.
Yeah, I did ask for a
We
clock.
haven't got a clock.
So I did ask for a clock.
Why don't you start? And I'll stop you when it inevitably becomes unbearable to watch.
I love it. All right. Here we go. Time starts. Here we go. Now. Question 1. When is my birthday? Is my birthday?
13th of August at 7:19 a.m.
That is absolutely correct. Question 2. What? I said what is my favourite colour? Is my favourite
Praline
colour?
4.
Correct, the colour of my nipples. And finally, Angie dear, what is my star sign? What is my
That's a trick
star
question.
sign?
You were born outside of the human understanding of the cosmos.
Unbelievable, that is correct. Stop the clock. That is correct.
Wow, that really was tough to watch. How did you do, Tommy?
Well,
How did
Angie,
you do,
my love,
Tommy?
you've got every single question right. Which of course means you lose and win absolutely nothing. Thanks for playing, Angie. Bye. Do we have another contestant on the line? Do we have another Jellyby on the line?
We do indeed. We should have Sonia Artleach. Are you there, Sonia?
Of course
Are you there, Sonia?
Thank you for being here, Sonia. Thank you for being here, Sonia.
Tommy!
Let me guess, you work in theatre, don't you? Let me guess.
Is it
you
that
work in theatre,
obvious?
don't you?
What gave it away? Was it the glamour or was it the glamour?
It certainly wasn't your inherent sense of humility.
Tell us about yourself, Sonia. Tell us about
Oh,
yourself,
well,
Sonia.
if you must must play this game. I am a theatrical agent. I represent the likes of Rudy Beefman, Samuel Coffee Cup, and Jodie Carpetburn, amongst others.
And how's the lockdown affected you, Sonia?
They may have closed the theatres, shut the studios, and boarded the cinemas, but they won't get me that easily.
How are you managing without any work?
Due to a savvy clause in all of my artist contracts, I am able to claim my 15% from their unemployment benefit.
Wow, that certainly is sharp. That certainly
Standard
is
stuff, standard stuff.
And can I ask, where are you speaking to us from?
Well, I work from home, you know, to keep costs down.
And who's this? And who's this?
You know, when they gave the order, I was actually mid-meeting with a client, so we've been isolated together.
No fucking no way!
What the fucking fuck?
Is that Tommy Harris? I'm a huge fan. Can I just tell you how bloody brilliant you are?
Actually, Jeff, we're about to play a game, aren't we, Tommy? Jeff, we're
got
about to
time,
play a
we've got
game,
time.
aren't we, Tommy?
If it's not too bold, I think I am in love with you, Mr. Harris.
No, it's not too bold. That is right. No, it's not too
Hey,
bold.
I'd love to show you some of my stuff. I've been working on some new shit.
Well, at least you're already aware.
During lockdown, we've been workshopping some of Jeff's ideas for much younger children, haven't we?
People still let you know their children, do they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I've been developing some shows for younger children.
Well, we'd love to see it, wouldn't we, Gerbil? We'd love to see it.
Absolutely dying to. Absolutely
Right, so,
dying to.
what do kids love?
Timely child support payments from their absent fathers.
Shallow and overproduced musical numbers.
That's right.
Overproduced musical
Animals! So, I'm trying to address the things that kids need to know, but through a medium that they'll understand. Do you understand?
I think
you understand?
Yes, I think so, yes.
Jeff's one of my best clients, aren't you?
I am. Yeah. So, the first one we've been working on is called The King of the Jungle's Mortgage Repayments. It's about a lion who's having problems with his interest rates.
I see. Does he have a broker?
He does. Yes. He's a porcupine. He does. Yes. How did you know that?
Well, your work is universal, darling. It speaks to people.
I'm going to say something to you, mate. I'm going to say something to you, mate.
Oh, the bear,
Yes. Right. This one is much better. So this one tells the tale of Mr. Bear. Now, Mr. Bear is a very sad bear because all of the other bears don't think that he'll amount to much, and they tell him that his plays are lazy and derivative.
I think you're onto something there.
Now, Mr. Bear is a tragic figure. Picture this. He's at his lowest ebb. The trees are closing in. He can't even face his salmon, can he? But then he meets someone that will change his life forever.
This is fucking gripping.
That's right. He meets a wise octopus who takes him under his wing and says, "No, Mr. Bear, don't be sad. You're not like all the other bears. You have this ambition and these dreams."
Such fucking dreams.
I think I love you, Jeff.
And what you need to do, Mr. Bear, says the octopus, probably doing an 8-armed gesture or something.
What you need to do to find happiness in this crazy old forest is you need to set yourself more realistic goals. It's called Mr. Bear Lowers His Expectations.
Wow. You really have taken yourself to new depths. And what do you want children to take away from this?
Oh,
What do you want children to take away from this?
Oh,
What?
I said a more realistic worldview.
It's Jeffrey. My name is Jeffrey Donington. My name is Jeffrey
How does it
Donington.
end? We need to know how it ends.
all the animals learn a thing or two about inevitable mediocrity.
And Mr. Bear settles down near to his parents' cave, stops trying to make his band happen, and he goes into bear telemarketing.
Becomes a bear maths teacher.
And we end on a big musical number. Oh, there's dancing. It's very repetitive, so it's catchy but not too challenging. Well, if you like, I could go and get my boombox.
I might be able to. Hang on. Can we get Angie back? I might be able to.
Why not? The more the merrier, as they say at orgies. The more the merrier, as they say at orgies.
Right, I'll just fill then, shall I? Coming up in a moment, it's the world premiere that nobody saw coming. Or wanted. At all. Or wanted. I can only apologise in advance for what we're all about to endure.
Do turn the shitting thing up.
Endure.
Do turn the thing up. Well, there's all sorts of creatures. Down on Dangly Doodle Farm. Like wise old Mr. Octopus with way too many arms. There's Mr. Pig and Mr. Cow, they're always in good moods. But that's 'cause they don't know they'll soon be sliced up into food. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's where your hopes go to turn into despair. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's where your dreams go to die. Mr. Raccoon wants to go to the moon. He'll end up as a bus driver soon. Mr. Porcupine thinks he'll read the news at 9. He'll end up as a janitor who stinks of turpentine. Mr. Tiny Mouse thought he'd own a massive house, ended up in a bedsit where he can't control the louse. Mr. Horse thought he'd go into professional sports, now he's an alcoholic and he's on his third divorce. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's the place your life becomes an endless questionnaire. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's where your hopes go to die. Lower your expectations. Maybe you could get a job in telecommunications. No matter how you try, you'll never reach the League of Nations. The best you'll get is middle rank in trading operations. So lower your expectations. You'll never win an Oscar, so there's no congratulations. The future that is coming will not meet specifications, and no amount of visualizations will save you from your own deterioration. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's a tramp who thought he'd be a multi-millionaire. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's where self-esteem goes to die. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's the disappointment that is waiting everywhere. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's where your schemes go to die. That's where your dreams go to die. That's where dreams go to die.
Amen, Mr. Bear. Amen. And before we say goodnight, there's just time for tonight's parable. For it did come to pass that on the road there was a wise man and a foolish man and a weird man. And there did come upon them from the local village a truth seeker named Unlikely Brian. And he did come to them with alms and someone else's arms and a question. "O wise and weird and foolish man," he said, whilst dancing the traditional jig of inquiry common in those lands at those times, "how, grant thou, can the many weights and measures of life be balanced?" And the wise man did say, "There are no riches greater than family." And the foolish man did say he'd heard a good tip for the camel race and that it was a sure thing. And the weird man did say that 2 ears was just the right number, because there was no good place to put a third that wouldn't be aesthetically upsetting. Although he did see the use for a second anus.
and unlikely Brian did fall into wonder and befuddlement at their answers, although he was also wondering if either the foolish man or the weird man had any actual value in this sort of professional consultative environment. For what he did not know was that the profound man and the practical man were both on annual leave that week, and the foolish man and the weird man were all that the agency had available. But what unlikely Brian did not reveal was that he was asking for his friend Alex, who had enraged their spouse over a passport, treated their son Charlie like he was still a little baby, and was too miserly to even pay for their daughter's holiday. And thus did Alex's family become like our Lord, when he discovered a turd in his cradle and was forced to ask Nebuchadnezzar to leave. Well, that's all we have time for tonight. I'm Archangel Megan Wolf. Have a hateful night. Oh my God. I thought I was going to piss myself halfway through that. No, I'm joking.
Children
Right, babe, I've got to go and get my bits done. Yeah, I'm seeing that guy
Advance
tonight
knows
again,
this,
aren't I?
and we're making sure we get
At
to
the end of the
them
day,
while
babes, he
they're
makes
young.
my fanny flutter. Do you know what I mean?
The Advanced
Yeah, come on then, you
Go-Getters
lot, out my
initiative
house.
will put
And
your
you,
children
Alex.
in the
All
picture.
right, I don't want you here when I'm on my date. I'm on a promise.
Subtle brainwashing
Alex.
delivered in potentially hazardous
Wake up.
environments.
Wake up!
And when they talk about what's happening at home, we'll be listening.